Dealers out there in the toy world, whether you're collectors or designers, it's me, Matty Boom Batty from Smash Tokyo Toys here in Brisbane, Australia. I promised everyone I would talk to you this week about marketing. How do you go about marketing your toys? So there is a lot of things that you can do. Generally, when people talk to me about marketing their toys, they come to me and they have all of these amazing ideas. And there are a lot of traps that they fall into. Most people always come to me and they say, "Oh, Matty, I'm just going to jump onto the social media and that's what I'm going to do to market my toys." Yeah, that's fair enough. We live in the modern world and social media is a good way to market your toys. But there is much more to marketing than just getting free media to advertise your toys. So let's start off really simply. Let's look at the dummy's guide to marketing. So there are 4 things that you need if you're going to go the dummy's path. It's the 4 M's. The 4 M's of marketing are market, merchandise, message, and media. So there's a thing in marketing, and especially in the toy industry, and it's called myopia. Now, myopia just means that you're only focused on yourself. Now, you might be like, well, what does that actually mean? Well, you have a think about it. Most people, when they decide to make a toy, they'll go out, they'll do all the things that we've talked about in my videos, they'll get their toy ready, and the first thing they do is they go out and they start making merch. Now, if you've got one toy that's at factory, why the fuck would you go out and blow thousands of dollars making pins and hats and shirts? No one has heard of you. Now, you think about it, I can guarantee you, everyone you know, everyone you see at San Diego Comic-Con, they're all out there, they've got their one toy, their one friggin' skull-headed dunny or whatever it is, and suddenly they've sunk thousands of dollars into merch. Well, no one's ever fucking heard of you. No one knows who you are. Don't do this. It's called myopia. It's called you. It's all about you. Well, that's crazy. You should be marketing to a target audience. Everything you're doing, if it's your first toy, you should be planning your target audience. Who are you making this toy for? It shouldn't be all about you. It should be about them. Who are you selling the toys to? Now, a huge mistake that people make when they come to me is they all say to me, "Well, Matt, I'm making my vinyl toy for big fat guys who live in their mother's basement." And I'm like, wow, that's hugely insulting, man. And they're like, well, that's my target audience, guys with like too much money, because they live at their parents' house and they're in their like 30s to 50s and they just have all this money to blow. That is a really, really, really small audience. It's the modern age. There are heaps and heaps of different people who are buying toys these days. Shit, I can think of like 5 different groups straight off. What about the gamers? Shit, I made robot toys. I didn't just like target fat, sweaty guys who live in their mother's basement. I thought of gamers, people who collect robots, people who collect Transformers. There was such a huge, wide, diverse community of people who collected my toys. You can't just that group that people would say to me where they're like, oh, like guys with too much money, guys who are like businessmen, all these guys. And I was like, why are you just saying men? Why just men? Ladies collect toys as well. And they're like, what do you mean? Girls don't collect toys? I'm like, sure they do. Shit, I can play computer games every week with women. Your market should not be small. Your target market for your toys should be as wide and diverse as you could possibly make it. That's myopia. Please God, don't go out and your first toy, you straight away go, I need to make pins, I need to make hats, more people need to know me. People don't know who you are until after your toy has come out and if your toy is successful. Okay? Your market. Who is your market? So what do you want to achieve with this toy? Now remember, I've spoken about this before. If you want to make a toy because it's your live stream, that is a really bad reason to make a toy. If you want to make a toy because you think it's going to make you toy famous, Again, that's a terrible, terrible reason to make a toy. If you're making this toy because your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, someone told you that they think it's a great idea, terrible reasons to make a toy. You need to have a good reason. Like, what are you going to achieve? Do you think that when you make your first toy, it's going to finance the next toy? Hey, I thought that. I thought all of my toy lines would finance my next toys. None of them did. Shit, most of my toy lines, we barely sold 5 or 6. They're still sitting in a warehouse somewhere. So you need to sit down and think this through. And like I said, you need to research, research, research. So who's your market? Who are you going to sell it to? So that whole idea that most people who buy toys are just these toy geeks, or they're older men who are trying to live out the dreams they had when they were young people, or they're trying to have this nostalgia. That is not just your toy market. So you got to get through that, get over that. Now, merchandise. Now, there's this idea that merchandise is just your solid product. So it's not. What merchandising means is it's an experience. Most of us who buy toys, we have this experience. We love toys. I always say to people that the reason I wanted to make toys was because when I was a little boy, my parents, they didn't actually buy me the toys that I wanted. I never, ever, ever, every birthday, every Christmas, I never got the toys that I wanted. And all the kids around me in the 80s, if you're an 80s kid, you knew that growing up in the 80s was like the greatest time ever. It was the best time for toys. It was the best time for movies. Well, I didn't have that same experience as everyone else. So when I grew up, I wanted to be a toy designer because I wanted to have that experience that everyone else had. So, it's all about, experience. Most merchandising is about experience. Why do people drink Coke over Pepsi? Why do people drink Pepsi over Coke? Well, for me, I think Pepsi tastes better than Coke. So isn't it an experience? I'm not buying it because I like the colors of the can. I'm buying it and I drink it because it's the experience of it. So you have to wrap your head around that. What are people experiencing with your product? Hell, you know why I love Super 7? Because the very first Super 7 toy I ever bought was a Super 7 Mummy Boy. And when I bought it, I was like, wow, I really like the design of this. But the Mummy Boy is missing an arm. Well, the one I bought was an orange Mummy Boy, and it used to rattle. So one day I took its head off, and the arm was inside it because he'd eaten his own arm. So for me, that blew my mind, and I've loved Super 7 ever since. They have amazing design, lots of innovation. So you have to keep in mind that when you're designing a toy, the merchandising is about what experience are you bringing to people. I mean, hey, there's a lot of shit toys out there that people love. And when I say to people, I'm like, whoa, you like that? I don't understand. And they're like, do you know the story of this toy? And when they tell me it was because there was a cartoon that they used to watch when they were a kid. And that toy, the character was like their favorite character. And you sort of go, oh, okay, I get it now. And then I go, okay, maybe it wasn't a shit toy after all. There's usually a reason why people like things. And that's what merchandising is about. What is it about your toy that you think people are going to make them buy it? Merchandising. What was the next one? Oh, message. So what's your message? So remember when I said about myopia? It's like people have this thing where they believe they have to run out and they have to make all this merch and everything. You do all that later. So a lot of people, they will make a toy and then straight away they're like, oh, I have to make a comic that goes with this toy and it has to have a backstory. Well, it doesn't. You should leave all that for later on. If you have a successful toy, your audience will create stories for it and they will build up and they'll create this whole mythology around your toy. See, at the beginning, you need to have a product and you need to establish your reputation. Then you can get your message out. A lot of people, someone said to me recently, I was at a market and I had a whole table full of stuff. And someone came up and there's a guy who comes every time. He always buys from me and he's rude as shit. And he'll come up to me and he'll go, hey, Baldy, how are you going? Or hey, Fatty, how are you going? And when he leaves, people say, I can't believe you let that guy talk to you like that. And I go, oh, it's fine. And they're like, why? Why do you let him talk to you like that? And I'm like, well, every time he comes, he drops $300. And they're like, oh. And I'm like, well, you know, he comes to me. He likes the way I treat him. And he'll say, the first time I met him, he was super rude, but he said, hey, I know you. And I was like, really? And he said, yeah, I know you. You're Smash Tokyo Toys. I follow you on Instagram. And I was like, oh, really? And he goes, yeah, I love your stuff. I love your content. I love everything about you. Well, the message that I'd gotten to him, I was like, really? I don't understand. What sort of, and he said, man, you are so funny. So at some point, the message that I've gotten across to him is that I'm funny. But everyone was like, but he's so rude. I'm like, well, the guy buys heaps of stuff off me. So I have to keep being positive to him if I want to keep selling a lot of stuff to him. So the message that I want to get out to people is that I'm a positive person. I have to. That is the message I have to keep giving out. I don't care how rude people are to me. I'm not going to be rude to him ever. I don't care what he says to me as long as he keeps buying my product. Isn't that what you want? You are a business. There are so many people out there who don't understand that they are a business. I can tell you the best bit of advice I ever got from Frank Kozik was he said, Matt, don't give away stuff for free. And I got the same advice way at the beginning from John Paul Kaiser. He said, Matt, stop giving away stuff for free. So if you're starting out and you make your first toy and you're at like San Diego Comic-Con and you're giving away like free hats and free shirts and free skate decks, all those things, that's like money that you could be putting into your toys. Don't do that. Not right at the beginning. You are giving the wrong message. That is the wrong message that you are giving out. So yeah, your message, you should be all about, like, your message is also included in PR. I think it was this morning. I just got like a one-liner from Brian Flynn from Super 7, and he said, hey Matt, haven't had time to read your messages. I'm at New York Comic Con, and he said New York Comic Con is all about PR and San Diego Comic Con is all about product. And I was like, wow, I'm actually giving a speech tonight about PR. So PR is incredibly important, because if people don't like you and they don't like your product, or if you give off negative vibes, they're not going to buy your product. If you're seen, now remember, I've said many times that 20 years ago when I first started making toys, I was a very negative person, and the internet hated me. They hated me because I had mental health issues. Well, I'm not that person anymore. And you can actually see as time has gone by that my whole public relations has turned around. People overseas, they actually give me the time of day now. Well, you need that public relations, because we live in a negative society. We live in a society where they actually make movies like 10 Things I Hate About You. I've seen a movie that was all about a kid who actually wanted to get expelled from school. We live in negative content. Someone can just say one negative thing about you and your whole toy line can bomb. That's it. I mean, we send our toys to forums because we want, you think of SpankyStokes.com, Toys Are Evil. People are sending these guys toys, and if you get a negative review, that is the end of your toy line. I mean, shit. I wouldn't send it. If I did a new toy now, I would never send it to anyone for a review, because if they said anything about your paint apps, if they say anything, like if they don't even like it, if it's not the style of toy that they like, that could spell disaster. That could spill disaster for you. The end. That's the end of you, because that's the society we live in. So when it comes to the next one, which is media, I always say, post your toy on every bit of media you can. But again, you have to be very careful about what you do. I would start by choosing one platform. For example, I would choose Instagram, and I would let Instagram people spread it as far as they can. Don't you put 30, 40 pictures of your toy in a row on my Instagram, because I will block you so fast. Let other people spread your toy. So put a picture up, get people to tag it, do all those things, but for God's sake, don't put it on like 30 media platforms all at once, because that annoys the fuck out of people. I can't stand to get 30 pictures of the same toy in a row on my Instagram. Don't oversaturate. Let other people spread it. Put your toys on every toy forum you can find that is relevant. For example, if you're doing a robot toy, you're not going to flood the G.I. Joe platforms with your robot toy, are you? No, you would put it on every single robot platform you could find. If it's relevant or it's similar to Transformers, smash those Transformers platforms with it. But do not oversaturate, because that will annoy the piss out of people. One thing I can't stand is when I get 6 months of blurry photos of a toy's leg or a toy's ear, all of that stuff. That's just super annoying. So be careful using media. Now, 20 years ago when I first started making toys, I actually took out ads in magazines. San Diego Comic-Con has a free magazine. You can put ads in that. I can guarantee you millions of people read that magazine at San Diego Comic-Con because it's handed out for free. If you think that spending money on a full-page ad in that magazine is a waste of time, millions of people see that for free, including the heads of companies like Hasbro. All those, you think of all the people who work in companies who end up at San Diego Comic-Con who will get to see your product. I guarantee you it's a winner. San Diego Comic-Con, the free magazine that comes out, put your product in that. It is not old-fashioned to take out an ad. Take out an ad on websites, stick it there for a while. I know Johnny Stokes from SpankyStokes.com is still doing ads. I talk to so many people and they say to me, I'm just going to stick my toys up on social media because it's free. Yeah, sure, it's free advertising, but OG, old school advertising still works. I look back through all the magazines that I had my stuff in, and sometimes I think, well, people still didn't buy it, but that was my fault. I've learned so much about marketing, and I have to tell you that old school advertising still works. Even if you canvass shops in your local area, go to all the vintage toy stores, stick up like paper advertising in their windows. Anything you can do to sell your toys, it still works old-fashioned style. All right, so that's very, very basic marketing. Please believe me when I talk about this thing, Google it. It's called marketing myopia. You will find that toy people, amateur toy people, they do it all the time. It's basically saying me, me, me. You're all about me, me, me when you're making a toy, when you should be all about them, them, them. Who is your audience? Because people are so narrow-minded. They'll be like, oh, look, I'm doing an original robot toy, and, well, you know who's into robots? Boys. Old boys, that's it. And you're like, hey, it's the modern world. Shit, my daughters are 16 and 13 and they love robots. So stop being so small-minded. Get out there. Expand your audience as far as you can go. So that's it for me. It's pretty late here. It's been a long day, so I'm going to crash out. Hope you have a great night. Hope you have a great week. Keep doing what you do. Have a good time. See ya.